They're speaking to the media after the Senate voted there. And of course, Donald Trump once again has been acquitted in the Senate. And impeachment managers there are saying that they have the numbers where the Congress in total is concerned, trying to show that they were victorious in one way or another. But of course, that didn't help from where impeachment is concerned of Donald Trump. But let's bring in our panel now. We have with us political commentator Avis Jones-DeViva, who's joining us, as well as David Cohen in Ohio. He's a political science professor at University of Akron. Good evening to both of you. And thank you for joining me here on CTV News Channel. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
So, Avis, let's make a start with you. Many would say this was pretty much on expected lines, but in the manner in which this entire trial was held, and of course, a very historic trial.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it was definitely expected. What was particularly interesting to me, though, was McConnell's reaction. Here is the reality of the situation. It appears as if the Republican Party has decided that they are willing to sell their souls, sell their party, sell this democracy to the devil in the form of Donald Trump. And what we saw with regards to Mitch McConnell's excuse-making there at the end was him trying to hide under the cover of the Constitution when the very first day of this proceedings was all about the constitutionality of this particular trial. A trial that was only delayed because he made the decision to delay it. He's trying to have it both ways. The reality is that though we knew going into this entire proceeding what the end would be, because I do not have confidence in the courage of the Republican Party, but it's still quite disturbing to see that they have given the green light for authoritarian tactics to be used, not only by this former president, but by future presidents. Right. And I am concerned that this is not the last time that we'll see political violence in this country. In fact, I believe that it'll be emboldened as a result. Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, because unfortunately, no accountability fixed with what we saw on January 6th at the Capitol Hill. David, let me bring you in here now. What are your thoughts on this impeachment trial? I mean, Donald Trump there being acquitted for the second time. First case was absolutely different, but this was more emotional. This was more personal for the American people. Pretty unprecedented, extraordinary, in which this trial was also held, unfortunately, with a preordained outcome.
Absolutely. Unprecedented is a word that we've used for the last 4 years. This, of course, absolutely unprecedented. We've never had a president of the United States impeached twice. It's very rare for a president to be impeached once. President Trump is one of only 3 individuals to be impeached. We knew what the outcome was going to be before the trial even started, but I think the impeachment managers the House managers did an impeccable job of laying out the case from stem to stern of exactly how Donald Trump incited this mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6th, leaving people dead. He never took responsibility for it. He put his own sitting vice president at risk. I think the most powerful part of the House manager's case is showing how he really could care less of what was going to happen to his vice president. Anybody watching this, with an open mind would say, my gosh, this is really an open and shut case. And I'm baffled at the actions of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and the fact that he emailed everybody this morning saying he's going to vote against the case.
Okay, David, I'm sorry for interrupting you there for a moment, because you know what? We have reactions coming in from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Let's take a quick listen and I'll come back to both of you for more. Please stay with me.
We could not be prouder of your patriotic presentations, the clarity in which you presented, and again, the inspiration that you have been to so many people. So I thank you for that. When I see all of them, it reminds me that when we recruit candidates to run for office, or we see them self-recruiting, we always say, and they'll say, well, I could be the president of my university, or I could be the head of my hospital department, or this or that. And so I have to think about whether I run for Congress. We always say, we don't want anybody without options. That's why we're looking to you to run, because you have options. That shouldn't be a reason for you not to run. But what we saw in that Senate today was a cowardly group of Republicans who apparently have no options because they were afraid to defend their job respect the institution in which they served. Imagine that it would be vandalized in so many bad ways that I won't even go into here, and that they would not respect their institute. That the president of the Senate, Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence, was the chant, and they just dismissed that. Why? Because maybe they can't get another job. What is so important about any one of us? What is so important about the political survival of any one of us that is more important than our Constitution that we take an oath to protect and defend? But why I came over was because I listened to Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, who, when this distinguished group of House managers were gathered on January 15th to deliver the articles of impeachment, we're told it could not be received because Mitch McConnell had shut down the Senate and was going to keep it shut down.
All right, we've been listening to Nancy Pelosi there, of course, talking about how till date there are Republican senators who somewhat are afraid of the influence that Donald Trump continues to have on the Republican Party. David, I'm sorry for interrupting you there first, so I'll let you have the first go and then I'll come back to you. Avis, please stay with me and thank you for your patience, Avis. David, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Speaker Pelosi is absolutely right. It's cowardly. The Senate majority leader at the time, Mitch McConnell, did shut down the Senate so that the House managers could not deliver the articles of impeachment. And so that's the reason it was delayed, actually, past January 20th. And that was one of the reasons that he used to say that he was going to vote against this because the trial, in his mind, was not proper and constitutional. And yet he said that, Trump was responsible. And that he expected that, there would be criminal charges that would be filed against the former president. Speaker Pelosi is absolutely right, absolutely cowardly. Mm-hmm. And what this is this is now the Republican Party is the party of Trump. It's the party of Q. It's the party of the Proud Boys.
All right, Avis, let me bring you in now. What's your take? What did this entire trial actually achieve? Of course, Democrats are saying where the entire Congress is concerned, they have the numbers. Majority of the members voted in favor of having Donald Trump held guilty of that insurrection on January 6th. But of course, that wasn't the outcome in the Senate, as we know. What have they really achieved? Avis.
They have allowed the American people to really see what happened on that day. Mm-hmm. I know that we all thought that we saw it. I thought that I saw it, but I didn't really see it until this trial, when it was laid out with new cameras from the inside that showed us exactly what was going on and juxtaposed it against a timeline that allowed us to see when everything was occurring in real time. I really did not have the idea that this was literally going on for hours. That level of violence was going on for hours. And that entire time, you had Trump basically sitting there, jovial, that his people were, quote unquote, fighting for him. It is just shameful. And Speaker Pelosi is exactly right. They are so concerned with their own individual political futures that they would rather desecrate the Constitution and this democracy rather than risk the ability and the necessity of having to find another job. It is absolutely pathetic.
But what does this mean for Donald Trump going ahead, Avis? Because the fact is this decision actually paves the way for him to run again if he wants to in 2024. One would have thought that this would diminish his political stature. But unfortunately, what do you think this has done?
Well, I will say that, he lost by 7 million votes, whether or not he wants to believe that. He lost, and he lost badly. So he can run again. Absolutely, he can run again. But, the American people saw this. And what's going to happen with the Republicans that he have now made fools out of is, yes, they'll be able to survive a primary, but then they're going to have to run in a general election. And I really believe that at the end of the day, this is going to come back and haunt the Republican Party in the midterms, because those videos, to me, I would take a gazillion of them and make 1 million campaign ads against them. These people put your democracy up for sale, and they did nothing about it. And actually, you also had people die.
Yes.
Policemen die, and they have done nothing about it. they would be running against that for 2022, 2024, and forever, if it's my say as a political strategist.
Well, history will definitely be remembered. And of course, going ahead, generations will remember what has happened in the U.S. with these developments as of today. So Avis, Jonas Deaver and David Cohen, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me on CTV News Channel this evening on this big development.
Thank you.